Hello everyone, it's us, the team at TV Days Drama Digest, here once again with a detailed breakdown of the latest Days of Our Lives episode from March 26th. If you missed today's dramatic turn of events, don't worry, we've got all the juicy details right here. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the turmoil, heartbreak, and intrigue that unfolded in Salem today. Doug's confession. The unraveling of trust. Today's episode saw one of the most heart-wrenching moments in Days of Our Lives as Doug, desperate to confess his sins, found himself face-to-face with the consequences of his actions. The stolen necklace, a cherished family heirloom, had been the center of mounting tension, and the truth about its theft was finally exposed. Tate, unknowingly or not, had played a pivotal role in bringing Doug's secret to light, revealing to Julie that Doug was the thief. As Julie learned the painful truth about Doug's betrayal, the emotional weight of her disbelief was almost too much to bear. In a tense confrontation, Doug returned home, hoping to confess and beg for Julie's forgiveness. But before he could even get the chance to speak, Julie was already one step ahead. She called him out, asking him directly if he was the one who stole the necklace. And in that moment, Doug couldn't deny it. With a heavy heart and regret in his eyes, Doug admitted to his wrongdoings. Julie's heartbreak was palpable. She had trusted Doug, believed in him, and welcomed him into her home during one of the most vulnerable times in her life. To have him betray that trust so deeply cut Julie to the core. She cried out, accusing Doug of taking advantage of her at her lowest point, and demanded he leave her house immediately. The anger, the hurt, and the sense of betrayal were all too much for her to bear. Doug's departure, a man at his lowest as Doug stood there, his bags packed, ready to leave, the weight of his actions hit him like a ton of bricks. He was fully aware that his betrayal was unforgivable, but his regret ran deep. Doug's words to Julie were filled with sorrow and self-loathing. He admitted that he was desperate, stupid, and made a terrible mistake. He expressed how much Julie and her family had meant to him, how knowing them had been the happiest time of his life. But even with his heartfelt apology, it was clear that the damage had been done. Julie was devastated, and there was no room for him in her life anymore. Doug walked away, leaving the house and the relationship with nothing but guilt and remorse weighing him down. With nowhere to go, Doug found himself sleeping on a park bench, the reality of his actions sinking in with every passing moment. It was a sad and lonely moment for a man who had once been welcomed into the Horton family with open arms. As fate would have it, Pauline stumbled upon Doug, alone and despondent on the bench. She urged him to move, to find somewhere else to sleep, clearly uncomfortable with the sight of him in such a state. Doug, broken and with no other options, had nowhere else to turn. Holly comes to Doug's rescue, a small glimmer of hope in a turn of events. Doug finally reached out to Holly, who had been a steady presence in his life. It was clear that Doug needed help, not just for a place to stay, but for someone to offer him the support and understanding that had eluded him. Holly, ever compassionate, agreed to help him. She offered him a place to shower and rest, providing him with a small measure of relief after the emotional storm he had just endured. While Holly's help was a welcome respite for Doug, their conversations soon revealed a deeper layer of betrayal. Doug admitted that he never even had a chance to confess to Julie about the theft because she already knew the truth. He realized, of course, that it was Tate who had revealed the secret to Julie, and that realization only added to Doug's sense of betrayal and regret. Holly was left to grapple with the knowledge that Tate, whom she trusted, had been the one to sell Doug out. Tate's guilt, the ripple effect of his actions elsewhere in Salem. Tate found himself facing the consequences of his decision to expose Doug's secret. While Tate may have thought he was doing the right thing, his actions have caused a ripple effect that will reverberate through many lives. He was worried about Holly's reaction when she finds out about his decision, and understandably so. Tate's motivations for revealing Doug's theft were complicated, and it's clear that he was acting out of a mix of guilt and perhaps a desire to protect Holly from further pain. However, his choice to expose Doug has only served to increase the tension and confusion around him. In a conversation with Sophia, Tate admitted what he had done. He expressed his concern about how Holly would feel when she found out, and Sophia, ever supportive, did her best to comfort him. She offered a listening ear and tried to ease his guilt, attempting to bring him closer to her as they bonded over more than just the complicated situation with the baby. This moment of vulnerability between Tate and Sophia, however, could have its own ramifications, as it seems that Tate is now more connected to her than ever before. Julie seeks comfort. Turning to Maggie for support back at the Horton house, Julie was left to pick up the pieces of her broken heart. Her conversation with Doug had shaken her to her core, and she found herself turning to her close friend Maggie for solace. Julie confided in Maggie, sharing the latest heartbreak involving Doug and his betrayal. Maggie, ever the supportive friend, offered Julie the comfort she desperately needed in this difficult time. Julie's pain was not just about losing Doug, but also about the loss of trust in someone she had welcomed into her life. She had opened her heart to Doug, believing him to be a trustworthy man who would never hurt her. But now, with everything exposed, Julie was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered relationship. Maggie's presence provided Julie with a sense of calm, but it was clear that healing would take time, and it would be a long road ahead. Paulina and Chanel's optimism. Facing obstacles in the adoption process meanwhile, Paulina and Chanel were trying to remain optimistic about the future, particularly regarding the adoption process they were navigating. Despite the setbacks and complications they had already faced, they were determined to keep moving forward with their dreams of expanding their family. However, as with all things in Salem, their optimism was met with a new obstacle. Amy, whose involvement in the DiMera-related incidents has been a point of contention, became embroiled in the latest scandal involving Leo's article about the DiMera family. Amy's criticisms of the DiMera family, stemming from Leo's scandalous exposé, have only added fuel to the fire. This latest incident threatens to derail Paulina and Chanel's hopes for a smooth adoption process. With Amy vocalizing her displeasure about the DiMera family's involvement in their lives, tensions are only set to rise. Johnny's struggles. EJ's fight for peace with his son Johnny DiMera, still reeling from the shocking news of his impending fatherhood, found himself in the midst of more emotional turmoil. His relationship with his father, EJ, has been strained for some time, and Johnny is still harboring deep resentment over EJ's past actions, especially the way EJ treated Sammy. Johnny's anger is palpable, and he is unwilling to forgive his father for the pain he caused his mother. Despite his own struggles, EJ is determined to mend his fractured relationship with Johnny. He is fully aware that it will take time and effort, but he is ready to fight for peace with his son. However, Johnny's refusal to let go of his anger is proving to be a major roadblock for EJ. The tension between father and son is thick, and their path to reconciliation seems anything but straightforward. Paulina's continued criticism of EJ, a bitter clash as if Johnny's resentment weren't enough. Paulina has also found herself at odds with EJ. Her criticism of him has been growing, fueled by her concerns about his behavior and his impact on the people she cares about. The tension between Paulina and EJ came to a head today, as they clashed over their differing views. Paulina's criticisms of EJ were sharp and pointed, and the confrontation left both characters on edge. With Paulina continuing to stand her ground, it seems unlikely that the animosity between her and EJ will subside anytime soon. Their feud is only adding more stress to an already complicated situation, as both Johnny and Paulina seem determined to keep EJ at arm's length. Conclusion: a day of heartbreak, drama, and intrigue. Today's episode was filled with intense emotions, heartbreaking confrontations, and the complex relationships that Days of Our Lives is known for. From Doug's devastating confession and his departure from Julie's life to the continued turmoil surrounding Johnny, EJ, and the DiMera family, it's clear that Salem is far from peaceful. The ripple effects of these events will continue to unfold in the coming days, and it's impossible to predict what twists and turns will come next. What do you think about Doug's future in Salem? Can Julie ever forgive him, or is their relationship truly over? Will Paulina and Chanel's adoption dreams be crushed, or will they overcome the obstacles in their way? And how long will Johnny continue to harbor his anger toward EJ? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.